Welcome to Livin Local, the official podcast of BlackHillSuperFan.com, your online source for exclusive savings, giveaways, information, and fun in the Black Hills. Our podcast, Livin Local, is part of that. This program was made to help you get to know local business and community leaders in the marvelous region where we live, the Black Hills. I'm your host, Brian Leslie. Today, we are Livin Local with Laura Butler, the owner of Green Oven Bakery and Crepe Cafe in downtown Spearfish. So Laura, thank you so much for spending time with us on BlackHillSuperFan.com Livin Local podcast. We're in the restaurant here, beautiful location in downtown Spearfish. And Laura, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a little inside baseball, right? So we started this conversation about 10 minutes ago, and I realized that I hadn't pushed play on my recorder. So we just recorded about 10 minutes of stuff that never got recorded. So we're starting over again. So here we are.
Perfect.
It works. I mean, whatever. But, you know, I love this place, and you come inside, it's got a warm spaciousness to it. You know, you've got the tin ceilings, and you've got the rustic decor. I love the barnwood back here, and the vibe inside here is just very earthy and very natural. Is that kind of what you were going for?
It is. First of all, I love old buildings, and when this space became available, and I'd been here previously, I just knew that this was the location that I'd been searching for to open a bakery, and I'd always thought that if the perfect location became available, I just jump. And so with the really old tin ceilings, the history in this building and its location on Main Street, I just knew that this, kind of warm home feeling was gonna work really well.
Sure. And Laura, the official name that you use for marketing purposes anyways, Green Oven Bakery and Crepe Cafe. That's something we don't see very often in the Black Hills, a crepe cafe. Tell us about what you offer here.
Sure. So we offer a variety of different types of crepes. So we do your standard sweet crepes, but we also serve ones that are more oriented towards breakfast and then ones that are more brunch, lunch friendly.
Okay. And for folks that aren't as familiar with crepes, they are a French dish.
Thin pancake, correct.
Very thin pancake. But you have a special way of making them in terms of the flour that you use.
That's correct. We use buckwheat flour, which actually isn't a flour at all. It's it's ground seeds, and it's actually related to the rhubarb family. And so we do that.
I never knew that. See, that is so cool. I did learn that today.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't realize that.
And it has a different flavor to it?
It does. Buckwheat is very, very nutty and has just a very earthy flavor to it naturally. So for savory crepes, it actually blends really well with the flavors.
And when you say savory, what does that mean?
Oh, savory means, there's different types of stuff inside them. So like spinach and sausage and ricotta or...
that sounds good.
Oh, there's one that I've got with quinoa. Different types of really good cheese like... Manchego, Gruyere, Brie. Yeah.
And then the sweet ones are the ones that are obviously made with, things that are more sweet, sugar inside. Yes.
Correct.
Awesome. And the buckwheat flour gives it that special kind of that flavor. And I know that, that my wife and I were in Santa Fe not too long ago, and we found this crepe restaurant, and we just fell in love with it. And it was a little artisan town, and you see this a lot when you travel to these quaint villages and stuff throughout the West and even in the South. But we never could find one here. So, I mean, you obviously found kind of a hole in the market. Yes.
I think I found a really good niche. And not only is it the crepes are fun, but they're flavorful and, they're hearty, but they're light and they're fresh. And so then I think that makes them a really good fit in Spearfish.
Now, you also have a bakery. Tell us about that.
Sure. So the bakery, we have a display case. Every day rotates, so there's a different baked good out every single day. Sometimes we'll put together little pre-packed boxes in the morning, so if you're on your way to work and you're rushed or anything like that, you can swing in, grab a pre-pack, and take it to the office to share with the office mates. We have people do that quite often. Sometimes if we do have a few leftovers at the end of the day, which isn't very often, we'll put those as day olds, and we'll mark them as pre-packs and give them away as discounted baked goods. But otherwise, we try to do 6 to 8 different variety of baked goods every day.
Wow. The other day I came in and I had one of your scones. It was cheddar cheese, bacon, and jalapeno. And I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely to die for.
The savories are my favorite.
Yes. Oh, my word. And if we weren't here on a Monday afternoon when the store was closed and the bakery's closed, I would have one of those right now. I'd buy one from you today because they were just that good.
Perfect.
And who comes up with your recipes?
Some of them are old family recipes, actually passed down from my grandma, and then some of them, we've just kind of read a bunch of like my favorite magazines from Scratch Baking, or some of my favorite flour brands like King Arthur, and some of their recipes. And then because we're at that 3,500 feet altitude elevation, it kind of messes with the recipes sometimes. So it's really cool that it gives us this opportunity to really make it our own, because we have to play around with the ingredients. And sometimes I'll find a base recipe that I love, whether it's online or in a magazine, and then I'll get to change it or change all the main ingredients and create a whole new flavor profile.
Sure.
So that's a lot of where that stuff comes from. And some of them, my assistant baker that I hired, some of them are her family recipes as well.
Awesome. And so you've been pretty busy, it sounds like. I mean, you're booking for weddings and receptions, and you do that kind of thing too.
We are. Once we opened our doors and the Crepe Cafe finally settled down, because that was its own life form in the beginning, we've had a chance to really sit down and build up our list of offerings for either dessert trays or dessert party trays. And then we've booked birthdays and weddings and anniversaries and all kinds of really fun events.
What is your favorite thing on the menu?
Crepes or bakery?
Crepes. Let's start there.
Okay. Oh, it's probably a toss-up between the Big Papa, which is a play on a jalapeno popper, and the We Belong Together, because I love brie cheese.
We belong together.
Right, and it's got...
that sounds worth exploring. What's in that?
It's spinach and artichoke hearts, and then sausage, and then it's nestled inside the crepe with brie that just kind of melts down around everything, and then it's topped with a honey sauce, a little bit of Parmesan, and then some fresh microgreens.
Oh, wow. And what about the bakery? What are some of the things that you're partial to?
So, like I said, I really love savory. And so for me, my favorites are probably making the savory biscuits and the savory scones. Because that's the stuff I kind of remind me most dearly of my grandma and growing up in the South. And so those are the things that I probably enjoy the most.
The thing about when I had that scone the other day was you could just about take a fork and just eat it with a fork because it was so good. I mean, it had so much body to it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And you said that you learned a lot of these from your growing up years from your grandmother and your mom. Where did you grow up?
Sure. So I spent most of my childhood in Louisiana, down in Cutoff, so that's right near the ocean. And then after that, I moved to Wyoming with my mom. And so then, learn more about baking from her. She was huge into making pies, so sweet and savory pies. She made all the time.
Wow.
And so, those are pretty exciting to get to share.
Where in Wyoming was that?
My stepdad was actually a construction foreman. So we moved all over Wyoming.
Okay.
We spent the longest time in Gillette, so that's where I graduated high school.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, lived for a few years before I decided I needed to move on for college.
Yeah, and you were no stranger to the Black Hills region,
right.
Having lived that close proximity then. Yeah, and so you went to school, you went to college.
I did, yep. I came over about 11 years ago I was pre-dentistry at Black Hills State, and then I was awarded a research fellowship with the genomics laboratory on campus, and I just fell in love with science. And so I knew that I was never going to finish pursuing a pre-dentistry degree, and so I stayed and finished my bachelor's. I worked in population genetics under my mentor and evolutionary genomics. And then after that, I decided I wanted to get a master's degree, but I still wasn't sure what field interested me because I'm kind of a big picture thinker. So having to have a really narrowed focus was always a bit of a struggle for me.
Sure.
And so then I focused on a double master's, one in integrative genomics and then the other in the science of sustainability. And so I haven't quite finished them yet because I took this project on, but I'm sure I will at some point.
So what is genomics?
The study of DNA.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. DNA, life forms and stuff.
Correct.
Wow. So this is a little bit closer to your growing up roots, but not necessarily your study where you were studying, right?
Right.
And maybe there's an intersection between those two. I haven't found it yet, but there might be. what were some of the things that your grandma made that you just remember being really, really good?
Sure. So my grandma makes the best biscuits in the entire world, in my opinion. The best biscuits.
A slap your mama kind of biscuit.
A slap your mama kind of biscuit. In fact, slap your mama is actually a spice that's from a town where my dad lives near.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So before you could buy slap your mama in the Walmart supermarkets, I had to make him ship it to me all the time because you could only buy it down there.
Oh wow.
So that
Good
was kind of
biscuits.
exciting.
And your mom made pies, you said.
Yep.
And as we talked earlier, I felt like you probably grew up with a garden.
Yes, my mom was huge into gardening. And of course everybody in the South is too.
Yeah.
So like my grandma and all her little old lady friends, I just remember it so vividly, and they would all go to their gardens, and then they'd help each other. And so then the kids, of course, got to drag around the big baskets, and we'd all pick, like green beans off the plant and then haul them back to one of their houses, and we'd have big end plucking parties. And I regretted it. I hated it then, but now it's one of the things I miss.
So that was like snapping beans?
Snapping beans.
Yes. Okay. I remember doing that because my mom was big into gardening, and we always had a garden when I was a kid. And I grew up some in Iowa, and so we had a little acreage, and we had a big garden. And as I was saying before, my brother and I were given a part of the garden. We could plant anything we want. And we went through the Burpee seed catalog, and we found the most obscure things you could think of to try to grow, strawberry popcorn and, I don't know, bachelor buttons and who knows what. I mean, just different things that you wouldn't see anywhere. So I asked you before, was there anything that you grew in a garden that you just like, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever grown?
Yes. There's two things. So I was determined to grow some okra because I love okra. And
big fan right
here.
here.
Pickled okra is my daughter and my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then figs. I miss fresh figs so much. And so I wanted figs. And the okra, kind of. But the figs were never going to happen.
No, you couldn't.
I was so disappointed.
Wow. So what would you use figs for? Just
oh my gosh, so much.
I'm just not a fig person. I don't know what figs.
Sure. Well, you don't get to experience fresh figs up here very often.
I know.
And you do, they've already been in a cooler for so long and then trucked. So a fresh fig straight off the plant is just tender and juicy and so much flavor. And then, versus up here, you often get the dried figs. They dry really well because, a high sugar content. But they're just, and they've got, this, I don't know, their insides is a really fun texture as well.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm getting hungry already, but wow. So, you're kind of a farm to table kind of ethic here, and I assume the name Green Oven kind of came from a sustainability type of model. Is that right?
That is correct. So when we were deciding on a name, I really wanted it to fit in with my lifestyle, my morals, and my ethics. And so one of the things that's most important to me, which I see deteriorating, and especially after coming from the South where, we were big community families. And one of the things I miss that the North doesn't really have is they don't have that same sense of neighborhood community. So it doesn't, big neighborhoods don't get together and throw big block parties, and they don't get together and help each other in their gardens as much. And so for me, community support is really important. Recycling, doing what we can, like minimizing our use of plastics, maximizing our use of reusable materials. Like all of our plates come from thrift shops. All of our silverware comes from thrift shops.
Wow. Because
there's no point in buying it brand new when it already exists just fine.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things are really important to me, and they're really important for my business.
And it just creates the whole atmosphere of what you believe in.
It does.
Right. From everything from the plates to the ingredients that you use.
Correct.
Yeah. You know what I miss about the South would be etouffee.
Oh,
boudin,
yeah.
Sausage boudin. Is that how you say it? Boudin?
Boudin.
I had some when I was in Louisiana the last time, and it was like amazing.
Right. That's the other thing I keep trying to get my dad to ship me, and he's like, it's never going to make it.
It wouldn't make it.
And I'm like, just ship it overnight on dry ice.
Yeah, there you go. So sustainability is an important part of your business model. Do you locally source ingredients as much as you can?
I will start to do that. Our farmers haven't really had a chance to get going too much yet.
Right. We're early May when we're recording this. Yeah.
Correct. So Cycle Farms, I signed up for the farm shares with them. So on Saturdays, if I'm finally staffed up, I can make it to the farm stand and start to bring in the ingredients that they have. And so one of the things I want to do is have like a weekly or a monthly special. So whatever they've gotten in abundance, I'm going to try and incorporate that into the crepes menu however I can.
Yeah, I mean, and that just plays into what we do with Superfan, Black Hills Super. It's living local, man. That's what it's all about,
exactly.
Right? The people, local people helping local people who sustain things and help local people in business.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, let's see. Let's talk about challenges and rewards. What would you say are the biggest challenges in running a bakery and a crepe cafe?
Sure. So definitely employees are very challenging. It's very tough to find that balance between pay and workmanship. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I've struggled with recently is just employees' idea on what pay should be versus actually what I can afford. And it's not even from a stance of being greedy, because I also believe in supporting the people that work for you. I'm not a very corporate mentality at all. In fact, I think that's, a lot of the problems today. Mm-hmm. We don't care about our people enough. And so that's been a struggle too, mm-hmm. Yeah. Having to have those kinds of conversations. And then just, expecting to be paid to do nothing. That I've been a hard worker and a workaholic my whole life, and so when you work with someone that doesn't have that same work ethic, it definitely creates struggles.
Well, on the other side of that is, what would you say are the biggest rewards? The things that when you go home at the end of the day, you say, "This is why I do what I do."
I suppose being able to work in the kitchen, just baking for 16 hours a day and not even noticing that time has passed is a phenomenal feeling. And then, when I get the phone calls or the Facebook messages or the Instagram comments that, where somebody's tried what we've made or they've seen their cake because I had to drop it off and I didn't actually get to meet the customer and see what they thought, and just hearing how much they loved it and their friends loved it. And I did a wedding cake for a friend of mine's wedding, and she says that all her friends ask her about to this day are the wedding cake, where it came from and how amazing it was. And so that's the stuff that really makes me smile at the end of the day and know I'm doing the right thing.
That is awesome. We're talking to Laura Butler, who is the owner of the Green Oven Bakery and Crepe Cafe in downtown Spearfish on Main Street. And we're going to take a break and be back with our speed round, including finding out something about the business that we may not know and a personal habit that leads to success. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Brian Leslie here, founder of the Superfan Project. In 2017, and with a lot of help from an amazing team, we founded BlackHillSuperFan.com for two reasons. First, to help support local businesses in our towns in a world where big retail and internet big box competition make it tough to survive. Second, we built it to deliver to you, our Superfan members, extraordinary value in the form of discounts and savings at these local businesses. But we wanted to go beyond coupons. Not only do we want you to save money, we want you to get to know business and community leaders. We want to deliver news, cool facts, and things about the beautiful Black Hills that maybe you didn't know, and that you can share with your friends and neighbors and family. Your $7 monthly membership helps support our efforts, and our goal is to deliver back to you 5 to 10 times that amount in savings. And remember, unlike other deal sites, with BlackHillSuperFan.com, when you make a purchase at a local business, 100% of that money goes to that business. It stays in the local community. That's what helps make us unique and helps your spending power have more impact right here in town. So if you haven't subscribed yet, head to BlackHillSuperFan.com and click on the sign up button today. We'd love to have you. Thank you. And as we like to say, we love living local. Welcome back to Livin Local, the official podcast of BlackHillSuperFan.com. We are in downtown Spearfish today, visiting with Laura Butler, the owner of the Green Oven Bakery and Crepe Cafe. And Laura, are you ready for our speed round?
Oh my gosh, I think I am.
first question is, what is one thing about your business that folks probably don't know?
We do not make donuts. We are not a donut bakery, and I know that's crushed a lot of souls around here, but 8th Avenue Bakery in Bellefouche makes a fine donut, but we actually can't have a fryer in the building, so that's more so why we will probably never offer donuts.
So if you want a donut, go to Bellefouche.
8th Avenue Bakery.
Awesome, love it. Second question, what is the key to success, do you think, at your business?
I think believing and trusting in my employees is really, really important, because I've worked a lot of places now, and I think the one thing I've noticed over the years is that when your boss isn't kind, your employees aren't kind. And so I think one of the cornerstones to success in my business is going to be the fact that my employees love coming to work, they love working for me, and they love serving our customers.
That's cool. You can't go wrong with that.
No.
Did you always want to run a restaurant?
I did not. I was pursuing, a career in genomics, and it just got to the point though where if I was going to finish, I was going to have to move to a big city, and I'm not a big city person.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I might have grown up and have these great memories of my family, but I don't have much of them left anymore. So it's just kind of my daughter and I here. And one of the things I miss the most is the feeling of family. And so staying in Spearfish was super important to me because family isn't always blood. And so with the relationships that I've made here, I just didn't want to leave. And I knew that in order to stay, I was going to have to do something else. And I've always wanted a bakery, and this space came available, and I just dove in.
Dove into the dough.
I did.
Got your hands going, kneading that dough. Well, that kind of speaks to the next question, our speed round. What personal habits do you practice that lead to success?
Sure. I think that's one of the more tougher questions because things are still a bit chaotic. One of the things I try to do, whether it's at night before I go to bed or first thing when I get up in the morning, is I try to make a list so that I take yesterday's list, I mark off what I got done, I remake the list, I mark what's a priority, what can kind of wait, what's a few weeks down the road. And then the other thing I do is when I get home, it's my daughter's time. I am not going to answer Facebook messages. I'm not going to answer emails. She's a priority to me.
How old
just
is
like
she?
She's 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
It's time, yes.
It is, yeah. And even when she was little, and I've been a single mom for quite a while, and so when I'd get home from study, and I'd have to study from college classes, and because I worked, all the time through that, I always had this rule that from the moment I get home until she goes to bed, it's her time, and I still do that to this day.
That is an awesome thing.
Which is, it's hard.
Yes, but it's perspective too.
It is.
It really helps you know it's important. Finally, where do you see your business in 5 years?
Well, things have been going really, really well so far, and I'm really excited about that. So I've already been playing with the idea that we're going to have to move the bakery itself into a different location sooner than later. So I'm hoping in 5 years we'll have a separate location for the bakery. We will still be able to keep our crepe cafe here, and then maybe add a few more like weekend brunch options, throw in some biscuits and gravy, throw in, overnight French toast soaks, or, have waffle specials, things like that.
Oh, awesome then.
Yeah.
And then you'd have your bakery in another place where you could do whatever you wanted to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'd have more space. We could, meet the demand for donuts, and then we just bring everything every morning into the downtown location.
Sure. Do you like to experiment with different recipes? Do you ever do that? Like, are you super creative with that?
I am. I do. I'll find a base recipe or a recipe I like, and then I will just change it until you can't even see. You can't even tell what it is anymore. And that's the fun thing about having a science background is baking is really chemistry. And so if you have a basic understanding of how the ingredients are going to react together and under heat, then you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Yeah, but if your grandma was like my grandma, it was like a little pinch of this and a little pinch of that. They just had that innate ability to just sort of see it in their head.
Correct. And there's some things you can do that with. Yeah. And some things, like the biscuits and the pies, I don't need recipes for those anymore.
Right.
And so it's just, you pulled out the palm of your hand and you pour your baking powder or whatever, and you know what a tablespoon or a teaspoon looks like, and you just dump it and go. But with like things like cakes, I would never.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
breads.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
And you'll make some artisan breads that people can stop by at the end of the day and pick up a loaf of bread, take it home. And
We are. First, I think we're going to start with a bread club. So you can call in on a Friday, put in your order, and then pick up fresh breads Monday or either Tuesdays. And then we're going to start providing Bavarian pretzels to Crepe Brewing Company. So we're really excited about that. I got the pretzel dough rising in the back right now.
wow.
Yeah, so that's
what's taking over the picture window back there. I can see it. It's almost like,
yes.
just kidding. Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Ghostbusters, nothing
Right.
like that. But no, really, so the opportunities just seem to keep coming. And that's
They
an
really
awesome,
do.
beautiful thing.
They really do. I know there's been a lot of apprehension about crepes in the area because people aren't as familiar with them. But what's exciting is that once they come in and try it, they're just excited and they're, this is so good. I had no idea. And that's really fun.
So, Laura, tell us a little bit about your hours. You're located, again, on Main Street in downtown Spearfish. You're not difficult to find, next door to the Matthews Opera House.
Correct.
And what are your hours, and how can folks get in touch with you?
Sure. We are open 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. It was really important to us to be open on the weekends, both Saturdays and Sundays, because that's when everybody gets to get around. So I'm hoping that more downtown businesses will pick up the let's be open on Sunday because everybody works Monday through Friday vibes.
Sure.
But otherwise, we can be reached through Facebook, emails through there, or I've got an email address. We'll have a actual website up soon when I have time to sit down and get that done. And otherwise,
Like you have nothing else to do, right?
yeah, exactly. And otherwise, our phone numbers, you can Google business us, and all our information is there.
Perfect. All right. Well, Laura Butler, the owner of Green Oven Bakery Crepe Cafe, has been our guest on Livin Local today. Thank you for your time, and best of luck. And we'll be here eating some crepes.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Hey, and one more thing before we go. Just a word about how BlackHillSuperFan.com is even more unique. When you sign up, your $7 monthly membership is converted into official Superfan credits. 28 credits for $7. And you can use these in many ways, including unlocking discount deals at local businesses and entering to win monthly prize drawings. So check it out today at BlackHillSuperFan.com, where we love living local. And one more thing I'd invite you to do if you wouldn't mind. Head over to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us an honest review. Let us know what you think about living local. We appreciate your time and thank you for listening.